Maximizing the impact of self-paced instructional time is part of the video series by virtual campus teachers on effective blended learning practices. How can self-paced instructional time be organized and planned for effectiveness and efficiency?
In self-paced or SP courses, students access their online course of study through a secure learning portal, which allows them to move through the curriculum independently, with guided pacing and the support of a teacher who monitors and regularly communicates with them. In order to get the most out of the live instructional time, which is on average 30 minutes per week, it's important to be very efficient and organized. We use Google Calendar to invite students to their 30-minute time slot and include school contacts so that they are informed about the schedule and can remind students as needed. In the calendar invitation, I also include a link to the Google Doc minutes, which I use throughout the year to track our progress. There's an example of that on the next slide. Here's a snapshot of one weekly update in a Google Doc that I use to track live instructional times with Autumn. Every week, we update the document to keep track of her questions, our upcoming live instructional times, reminders, and or goals of what is to be accomplished in the next week.
How do you move beyond the response, "Everything's okay," from online students?
Since we are working one-on-one or in small groups during the live instructional times, it is hard for students to hide like they sometimes do in a regular classroom. It is important to build the relationships so that students feel comfortable asking for help or admitting that they are struggling with something. In the live instructional times, we will practice skills, work through problems together, review errors in student work, do verbal assessments, or preview material that is coming up.
For each lesson in a self-paced course, I ask the students to complete a knowledge check. This is an example of one of those check-ins. Inevitably, these will yield some type of information that I can use to guide our live instructional time. The goal in designing these tasks is to strike a balance between the easy and the hard. Of course, I want the students to demonstrate their basic mechanical competence, but I also want to challenge them to make deeper connections. Sometimes I will also just start live instructional time with, "Hey, let's do a problem together today. I'll write, you tell me what to do." This not only provides me with an opportunity to see what the student knows, but encourages them to start talking. Often, this can be the icebreaker needed to get them to start asking more questions.
Here are a few examples of work that I have done with students during live instructional times. On the left, you'll see a couple of practice problems involving balancing chemical equations. And on the right is a review of a Desmos sorting activity that the student completed to identify the differences between endothermic and exothermic reactions. I often will screen capture the examples and put them into the Google Doc minutes so that students can refer back to them later.
What are some ways to foster autonomy in students so that they take the lead during SP instructional time?
Through the use of the Google Form checklists and interactive voice thread lessons that students are using throughout the week, online teachers already have an idea of what questions the students have before the live instructional times. In addition, we usually start the instructional time with student-focused questions, such as, what questions or concerns do you have? Or where would you like to start today? Sometimes the teacher will have topics identified to cover as well. The focus of the synchronous time together is very focused on the needs of the student.